Chapter 23. Alma. That Friday, I waited by the front window for Maribel's bus to bring her home from school. Tiny flowers of frost were etched across the window pane, and I puffed my breath against the glass, watching it fog up and dragging my fingers through the condensation. I checked the clock on the oven. It was an old oven, scabbed with rust, and I remembered my dismay at seeing it when we first arrived. Nothing at all like the tile and clay oven I had in Pátzcuaro with its wide wood mantel. I watched the hands on the clock tick around calmly. It's still early, I told myself. I bit my thumbnail and waited, and yet, after 10 more minutes, there was no sign of her. I put on my coat and boots and walked downstairs, standing under the balcony overhang looking around. The grass was ragged and soggy along the edges of the asphalt. Food wrappers littered the ground. I took a deep breath to calm myself and walked to the road, craning my neck to look for her bus. When I didn't see it, I cut back through the parking lot and headed towards the Toro's apartment. Celia looked surprised to see me when she answered the door. I hadn't talked to her since I called her to tell her that we didn't want Maribel spending time with Mayor anymore. She had defended Mayor at first, reminding me that Quisqueya was a gossip and assuring me that Mayor had never caused any trouble. But later, Rafael had called back and told us that Mayor admitted he'd been in the car with Maribel. Rafael apologized on behalf of himself and Celia and said that they had made sure Mayor understood he was to stay away from Maribel. Now, though, the friction was unmistakable. "I was on my way out," Celia said. She was wearing gold earrings and a butterscotch-colored sweater. Her hair was hairsprayed stiff. "Have you seen Maribel?" I asked. "Maribel? No. She's not here?" "No." My stomach turned. "Her bus didn't come today," I said. Celia's face betrayed a flash of concern. "When was it supposed to come?" 15 minutes ago. Maybe 20 by now." "Did she have something after school? A meeting or a club?" "No." "I don't know, Alma." "Is Mayor here?" I asked. Celia tensed. She pulled back her shoulders. "No," she said. "But he's not with her. He knows the rule." "Maybe he's heard something." "Well, he was going to a movie with his friend William after school today. I can ask him when he gets home." Celia leaned forward and stuck her head out past the doorframe. "Is that snow?" she asked. "What?" "It's snowing. When did that start?" I turned and saw a brief glimpse of something, like dust lit by sunlight. I was so distracted I hadn't registered them. "Dios, que vaina," Celia said. "All winter long, nothing. And now this. At the end of March." I was quiet, catching the sight of the flanks and losing them again, feeling myself burrow further into fear. Where was she? I didn't want to think what I was thinking. Had the boy come for her again? Had she taken her somewhere? And what was he going to do with her if he had? I felt it then. The full weight of my terror. I felt it low and round in my belly, thin and quivering through my chest. An anguished sound escaped my lips. "Alma!" Celia said, startled. I'm sorry." "You have to relax. I'm sure she's fine. Maybe the bus is stuck in traffic." I nodded, unconvinced. And then the two of us just stood there, and finally Celia dropped her shoulders and looked at me with sympathy. "Come inside," she said. "I thought you were on your way out." "Come inside," she said again. "I'll make coffee. We'll wait for her together." Once we were in the apartment, Celia tried to call Mayor, but only got his voicemail. He must have turned his phone off in the movie. He'll check it when he comes out. I sat on the couch and stared through the window at the white sky, the empty parking lot, the faded asphalt, while Celia brewed a pot of coffee. I forced myself to imagine scenarios in which Maribel was fine. She was sitting on the bus, twisting her hair between her fingers, staring out the window at the traffic on the street. She was asleep in the bus seat, oblivious to the delay. She was only a block from our apartment, pulling her backpack onto her shoulders, preparing to get off. I said to myself, "You didn't have a bad feeling before the accident, and then she wasn't fine. Maybe you have a bad feeling now, it means she is fine." I didn't care that it made no sense. "I need to call Arturo," I said suddenly, reaching for the phone in my coat pocket. But when I looked at it, the screen was black, out of minutes. How long had it been like that? I dropped the phone back in my pocket and asked Celia if I could use her house line instead. "Of course," she said, handing me the receiver. "Bueno," Arturo said when he answered. He was out, as he had been forever, it seemed, still looking for a job. "It's me, Arturo. You need to come home," I said. "Why? What happened?" "It's Maribel." "What happened?" he said again. "She didn't come from school." "What do you mean? Did you call the school?" I was embarrassed to realize that I hadn't, and I didn't want to admit it to him now. "Come home, Arturo, please." "I'll be right there," he said. I did call the school as soon as we hung up, but no one answered, and when I passed the phone to Celia so that she could listen to the recording that started playing, she reported that it simply gave the school hours and that there was no after-school programs that day. I thought of calling Phyllis too, but her number was in my dead cell phone. By the time Arturo arrived, not more than 10 minutes later, I was pacing outside, knotted with worry, every knot pulled so tight that it might have begun to fray. The snow fell lightly, like weightless kisses, although I barely noticed it then. And I ran to him as soon as I saw him. His face clouded and he put his hands on my shoulders. "Her bus didn't come," I said. My lips felt numb, but not because of the cold. "Was there an accident?" "I don't know." "Did you call the police?" The police?" "She was supposed to be home half an hour ago. Who knows what could have happened? I didn't know if I was allowed." "To call the police? Why?" I stared at him. I didn't want to say, "Alma, use your head. Let them deport us if they want." He stormed past me toward our apartment. "Arturo!" I yelled after him. He stopped and turned. "I need to tell you something." Tears were forming in my eyes, but I had to say it. I had no choice now. What did it matter? My instinct to protect him, my misguided idea that somehow by keeping all this from him, I could prove that I was capable. I could prove that I could take care of our daughter, even though that I failed her so terribly before. And if she was missing, what did any of it matter? "There's a boy." Arturo looked like he was annoyed that I was changing the subject. "What are you talking about?" "He lives in Capitol Oaks." "Who?" "You saw him a long time ago when we went to the gas station. He was there." "Who was there?" "I don't know his name, but he came here one day." Arturo shook his head as if he were giving up on trying to understand me. "I found him with her," I said, and pointed to the side of the building. "Over there. I think he'd been after her since the beginning. He had her against the wall." A darkness settled over Arturo's face. "What do you mean? What was he doing?" "He had her shirt up." "When?" I didn't answer. "When, Alma? When did this happen?" "I told him to stay away from her." "When?" "A few months ago."
"And you're telling me now?"
"I thought I could handle it."
"Handle it? Alma!"
"I went over to his house. I told him to leave her alone."
Arturo stared at me with such incredulity. It was almost horror, as if I were someone he didn't recognize. "Did he hurt her?" he asked.
"No, I don't think so."
"But you said..."
I got there in time."
"But where were you? Why weren't you with her?"
There was nothing I could say to that. I had no defense.
"You lied to me," Arturo said.
"I was trying not to worry you."
He sputtered, a sound that verged on laughter, and tipped his head back, gazing at the faded gray sky. The snow was falling steadily now, and the flakes the size of postage stamps landed on his face and on his hair. I wanted to make it up to you, I said. I waited, but he just kept his eyes trained on the faraway sky. I was the one holding the ladder. Arturo lowered his head and looked at me. What? That day. I was the one who let her go up there. 1 second she was on the ladder and she was our perfect daughter, and the next second, she wasn't perfect, Arturo said. But I knew you didn't want her up there. You told her not to go up there, and I let her go anyway. So? So she fell, Arturo, and it was my fault. That's what you think? That's what you told me at the hospital afterwards. Arturo looked confused. You said I was supposed to be holding the ladder. You accused me of letting it go. You think I blame you for what happened? We both know it was because of me. Well, I'm the one who told you both to come with me that day. You didn't know what would happen. Neither did you. That's what I'm saying. But it's different. No, it's not different. You say you let her go up there, but how could you have known she would have fallen? But I was the one holding the ladder. Did you take your hands off it? Did you move it on purpose? I shook my head. It wasn't your fault, Alma. Everything changed because of me, I said. He looked at me with sadness, maybe even mercy. It wasn't your fault, he said again. You have to let it go. But whatever I said back then, I was upset, Alma. I wasn't thinking straight. I bit my lip. Listen to me, Arturo said. It's you. It's you who needs to forgive yourself. I couldn't speak. Tears from a wellspring deep and dark streamed down my face. Do you hear me? Arturo said. Forgive yourself. I nodded and felt a distant sort of release, as if something inside me was draining away. Now, Arturo said, we're going to find her. Inside the apartment, Arturo called the police. They said that the school had already notified them and that they had a patrol car out looking. They seemed surprised that no one from the school had been in touch with us. They told him, kids this age, you'll see, she'll probably walk through your front door before we even get a chance to track her down. But she didn't, and Arturo wasn't going to wait. He collected change for the bus, put on his cowboy hat, and started toward the front door. Where are you going? I asked. I'm going to find that boy. And then what? And then I'm going to make him tell me where the hell our daughter is. It's snowing outside, I said stupidly, as if that made a difference. Arturo zipped up his coat. You stay here, he said, in case she comes home. He opened the door. I'll be back soon.